Platinum, Executive Platinum, Platinum, Emerald, Sapphire, and Ruby. If those words are written on
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Crew Travel right here on Yachting International Radio. My name is Ria. I am your host, and I'm very pleased to welcome back Hawkeye Lee Harris. How are you?
Very good, thank you. Hawkeye, I've suddenly become a Marvel Avenger, which I quite like the sound of. My kids would be impressed with that.
It was sort of in the spirit of the fact that you actually arrived in England with your luggage.
I did, and we were talking off air, just saying. I don't know if I was blessed or I was one of the lucky ones, but it was one of the most straightforward trips I've ever done. It was so simple, so easy, no drama whatsoever, which is unheard of, especially when you're traveling with 3 kids. But yeah, no, nice and straightforward. Via the US, bags arrived safely. One first off in London Heathrow. So yeah, very, very lucky. Either that or Heathrow are finally getting their act together.
Well, or the powers that be decided that they were going to make sure it all went smoothly for you because you've been telling the world how crappy it is out there for so long.
Exactly right. Yeah, I think that's probably it. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. And I have to mention that Blue Marine Travel, Crew Travel is brought to you by Blue Marine Travel, who haven't lost a passenger since Lee Harris was born back in the late 1900s. And their people move people.
We certainly do.
And they moved you.
They did, and moved me very well indeed, gotta say.
Yeah, well, you probably were the one that booked all your flights. Were you, or did you get one of your staff members to do it for you?
No, I did. I booked it myself. So if it had gone horribly wrong, I could only blame myself.
Right. Yeah, that's probably a good thing, right? Your staff was probably really, really happy with you for doing it yourself as well, just on the off chance. Oh, you know what? That would have been way funnier, though. I can't wait for the trip back. Let's see if it goes as smoothly, because now I have ammunition.
You have. Not only that, my wife would kill me as well. So,
well, yeah, we only speak once a week for maybe an hour, whereas you see your wife every day. I think that's something you should be more worried about.
Indeed. Yeah, I am slightly petrified.
Yeah, I don't blame you. So, of course, we had some great news. I'm not sure if it was last week or the week before in regards to BA. The baggage handlers, they were saying, okay, we're not going to strike. There was what was the other group of people that weren't going to strike?
It was the check-in staff as well.
Right. But, well, like any good news, there comes a little bit of bad. Now the pilots are making some noise. What's going on there?
Yeah, that's true. Europe's torrid summer of flight delays and cancellations may just get a hell of a lot worse following reports that British Airways pilots could soon be going on strike. It's obviously a move that would have huge ramifications in the UK and beyond, scuppering potentially thousands of flights should the walkout go ahead. Now, according to the Telegraph newspaper here in the UK, after BA bosses waved away demands of a pay increase following talks with pilots union BALPA, its members are now demanding a ballot over whether to go on strike. Now, while the date has yet to be set, if agreeable terms are not met, a walkout is likely to happen within the peak of the summer travel period. That's if union members vote in favour of industrial action.
Wow. Well, good news. And Omar, Peru and the Philippines do actually have some good news.
They do, yeah, that's right. The European Union's Commission has announced its decision to adopt as equivalent to the EU Digital COVID Certificate the coronavirus certificates issued by these 3 third countries. Now, starting from Monday, August the 1st, which is today, the certificates issued by Oman, Peru, and the Philippines can be used by their holders to travel to the EU and Schengen area whenever they are required, in the same way that the COVID-19 certificates issued by the EU and Schengen area are used. These 3 countries have agreed to accept the EU Digital COVID Certificate for arriving EU nationals also. Now, with these new decisions, over 1 billion people will be connected to the EU's COVID certificate system.
Wow, that is good news. Makes things a little bit easier for sure.
It does, especially the Filipino crew. Obviously, there are a lot of them in the yachting industry, and with the med season in full swing, it should make things a hell of a lot easier for those guys.
Good news, good news. And United Airlines is expanding their route.
They are indeed. Yep, United Airlines has announced new direct flights between Washington Dulles Airport and Cape Town, thus becoming the first airline to provide non-stop round-trip services from the US capital to South Africa. The US Department of Transportation granted the airline 3 weekly direct flights, which will commence on November the 17th. That's around about the med season. So sorry, not the med season, the Caribbean season. So that's good news as well. United will fly a Boeing 787 Dreamliner aircraft on this route, which features 48 lie-flat business class seats, 21 premium economy seats, and 188 economy seats. All seats will be equipped with seatback on-demand entertainment to help customers pass the time and relax during their travels.
Well, because that's what we're all worried about, is relaxing during our travels.
I mean, it's such a relaxing experience at the moment, travel. I mean, I don't know what people are worrying about.
I know, right? I mean, there's nothing more relaxing than jumping on an airplane. I mean, nobody is stressing a month, 2, 3 months beforehand in regards to whether or not their flight's going to be canceled, in regards to whether or not they've got the right paperwork, in regards to their luggage. None of that. So simple.
That's all.
Yeah. And there has been some false information out there in regards to the new travel authorization system for the EU.
That's right, yeah. So with the date on which the European Travel Information and Authorization System, or commonly known as the ATIAS system, becomes mandatory for travellers from about 60 world countries travelling to the European Union and Schengen area countries approaching, the number of fake news regarding the new scheme is also increasing. In recent days, many online media have reported that the ATIAS will become mandatory on January the 1st, 2023, thus causing confusion amongst travellers who will need the ATIAS system. Now, the statement is not true, as the ATIAS is set to become fully effective only at May 2023. So the 5th month of next year, May, not January, as has been reported. Now, it's been estimated that around 1.4 billion travellers from over 60 world countries that have the visa-free travel arrangement with the EU will need to obtain the ATIAS for travelling to the Schengen area.
Now, there's one thing I got to laugh about, because, with all this Brexit business and stuff, we are seeing headlines in Europe and especially in Spain about how, the British are going to be subjected to having to prove that they've got at least 85 euros or 100 pounds a day to spend per person, and they're going to have to pay this and they're going to have to pay this. And meanwhile, I'm sitting back thinking, I'm Canadian. Every time I travel, I had to pay those fees. And if I had been stopped and checked, I would have had to prove that I had that money to pay while I was in a country. It's nothing new. It's nothing new for the world. And because Britain is no longer part of the EU, it doesn't just apply to Spain. It applies to the entire EU. And it's not just Britain. It is every other country that isn't part of the EU. So they're not being targeted. It's not that they're anything more special than anybody else, but I think that they just assumed. I really think they assumed that nothing in their world would change. They just wouldn't have to pay into the EU system. And that was it. There would be absolutely no other change.
Yeah, I think that's probably right. It's we weren't in the country for the whole period and all the rest of it, but before that, I think there was a lack of information and probably people not doing enough research on what it would mean for them, for UK citizens, not only within Britain and taking back control or whatever it is that they thought they were going to get from it. But like you say, on the travel aspect, a lot of things were going to change, which they probably weren't aware of. And it's all now coming to the fore when people are starting to travel and they're realizing they've got to do this or they've got to have this or whatever it is. And they just didn't know whether that would have changed their vote with regards to Brexit. I don't know. But certain things are coming home to roost, I think.
Well, I mean, not to be political or anything, but I'm still waiting to see that I even forget what the amount was on that big old bus, but I'm still waiting for that amount that was on that big old bus that was put everywhere across the world as advertisement. The only reason for Brexit, or the main one, that money hasn't gone into the healthcare system in the UK by all accounts and purposes. I don't hear it has anyway.
No, as far as I'm aware, it hasn't. I think people are slightly raw about it who honestly believed it was going to happen. But who knew politicians did bend the truth now and again? Who knew?
Right? I mean, oh my goodness, I've never seen a politician say whatever they possibly can to get their way or elected. It's unheard of.
I know. Just can't believe it.
You know, just another reason why.
Rhea should be queen of the world.
God, you're quick on that now. I
Yeah,
appreciate
good,
it.
aren't
You are. What's going on with Wizz Air?
Yeah, Wizz Air has become the latest airline to announce additional cuts from its summer schedule in a bid to combat the ongoing travel chaos. Chief Executive Joseph Verardi said that cancellations will amount to 10% of summer flights. That's up from the original 5% they announced on the 11th of July. He also said we've been going through some real pain in terms of staff shortages at airports and air traffic control. So we decided to trim capacity further to create more contingency and more of a buffer.
Right, and Air France.
Yeah, so on December the 12th, Air France will recommence Paris to Newark flights after a nearly 11-year absence. Its launch in the festive month means it'll cater to the higher Christmas demand, running one daily flight, and the route is scheduled as follows. It will leave Paris Charles de Gaulle at 12:30 lunchtime, arriving into Newark at 1500, and then departing from Newark at 17:05 in the afternoon, arriving back into Paris Charles de Gaulle at 6:05 the following morning. Now, the return of the Newark flight means that Air France and Delta will together have 10 times daily flights from Paris to the greater New York area.
And this week we have no crew questions because you haven't had the chance to check for crew questions because you've been traveling.
I do apologize. That is correct. Yeah, just traveling and getting over jet lag. I have unfortunately not gone through the crew questions, but I will do this week. I'll catch up anyway. So any questions that were sent over, I will make sure that I reply to all of them, and we should have crew questions back next week.
Right, Lee, I have to say thank you very much, and thank you for taking the time on your vacation in England to let us know what is happening in the world of travel.
It's always a pleasure. Happy to do it. And yeah, we'll be good to go next week.
Of course. And I've got to mention once again that Crew Travel is brought to you weekly by Blue Marine Travel, who haven't lost a passenger since Lee Harris was born back in the late 1900s. And their people move people, which Lee is living testament to.
I am indeed. We do get people where they need to get to.
Yes, in one piece. That bit is important as well. Right?
That bit is important, very important. Yeah.
You've been watching another edition of Crew Travel right here on Yachting International Radio. My name is Rhea. I have been your host. We'll see you again next week.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, we're boarding passengers seated in zones E and F.